Are you feeling left behind? Do you ever look at the world, moving at lightning speed, and feel like you're standing still? That your skills, your experience, the very things that once defined you are slowly becoming obsolete? We live in an age of constant upgrades. The new, the fast, the quote, smart. And in this relentless race, it's easy to feel invisible. It's easy to believe that your time is past, that your light, once so bright, is now just a flickering ember. If you have ever felt this way, if you have ever felt unseen, unappreciated, or useless, then this story is for you. It is the story of Orion, the lonely lighthouse. And it might just reignite the purpose you thought you lost. On the jagged cliffs of a forgotten coastline, a tower of white stone pierced the sky. This was Orion. For over a century, he was a giant, a savior, a legend whispered by sailors from continent to continent. His beam, a powerful rhythmic pulse of light, was the heartbeat of the coast. It cut through the thickest fog. It wrestled with the most violent gales. It was a promise that no matter how dark the night or how treacherous the sea, there was a path to safety. Orion had seen it all. He had guided warships home and led humble fishing boats to harbor. Thousands of souls owed their lives to his unwavering light. He was more than stone and glass. He was a guardian. He had a purpose, and in that purpose, he found his joy. But time, as it always does, moved on. First came the distant hum of progress, then the silent, invisible signals. GPS. Satellites orbiting far above the clouds, painting precise digital maps onto glowing screens. The new generation of ships no longer searched the horizon for a familiar light. They listened to calm, digitized voices. In 2 miles, turn starboard. Orion's light, once a necessity for survival, became a novelty, a relic, a postcard picture for tourists. The great lantern room at his peak fell dark. The rhythmic pulse that was his heartbeat flatlined into silence. He still stood tall, a monument of white stone, but he was no longer a guardian. He was just there. He watched the massive cargo ships and sleek cruise liners glide past, their decks blazing with light, utterly indifferent to his presence. They didn't need him. The world didn't need him. A deep, quiet sorrow settled into his very foundations. A loneliness as vast as the ocean he overlooked. He became Orion, the obsolete. Orion, the useless. He began to wonder if his entire life, his century of service, had meant anything at all if it could be replaced so easily. Then came the night the world forgot how to see. It wasn't just a storm. The meteorologists called it a perfect confluence, a once-in-a-century event. It began as a monstrous hurricane, a swirling vortex of wind and water that churned the sea into a black, frothing monster. But this storm carried a hidden weapon. Riding on its winds, unseen, was the ripple from a massive solar flare. A wave of electromagnetic energy that washed over the region. And in an instant, the modern world vanished. Satellites went blind. GPS signals dissolved into static. Ship navigation systems flickered, stuttered, and died. Onboard compasses spun uselessly, tricked by the magnetized atmosphere. The new, fast, smart world was suddenly deaf, dumb, and blind, and it was sailing directly into the storm's embrace. Aboard the Odyssey, a passenger liner carrying over 2,000 people, panic began to set in. The ship, a floating city of light, was now a powerless cork tossed on 60-foot waves. The captain gripped a dead console, his face pale. They were completely blind. Worse, the hurricane-force winds were pushing them uncontrollably toward the one place sailors had feared for 1,000 years, the Dragon's Teeth, a treacherous, submerged reef of jagged rocks, the very rocks Orion had been built to warn them away from. The ship's radio crackled with desperate, fragmented calls. "Mayday, mayday, we have no navigation. We are blind. Does anyone see us? We are blind." They were all in the same nightmare. They were all being hunted by the storm, pushed inexorably toward the same granite teeth. In a small cottage, huddled against the wind, one man heard those calls on an old battery-powered radio. Elias, the last keeper. He wasn't paid anymore. He was officially retired. He just stayed. He stayed to polish the brass and dust the great lens, not for a job, but out of love for a forgotten friend. He knew the storm, he knew the reef, and he knew what was about to happen. Adrenaline surged through his old veins. He grabbed his rain slicker and a heavy iron crank. He ran, not as an old man, but as a man with a purpose. He battled his way up the cliff. The wind tore at him, screaming, trying to throw him back into the sea. Rain felt like needles. He reached the lighthouse door, fumbled with the ancient iron key, and locked himself inside. The roar of the storm instantly muffled to a deep, vibrating hum. He climbed the spiraling stairs, his lungs burning. He reached the lantern room. It was cold, dark, dead. There was no electricity. The solar flare had killed the main power grid, but Orion was built in a different age. An age before. Elias jammed the iron crank into a heavy gearbox. This was the manual override. The backup system from a time when backup meant muscle and steel, not a second computer. He put his entire weight into it. The gears groaned, rusted and stiff from decades of disuse. It didn't budge. He threw his weight again and again. A sharp pain shot through his shoulder, but he ignored it. He thought of the blind ships, of the souls in the dark. Not tonight, he growled into the wind. Not on my watch. With a final, agonizing heave, the gears shrieked and broke free. The massive, multi-ton lens assembly began to turn. Slow, so slow. Now, the light. The emergency gas igniter was dead. He pulled out a simple wooden match. His hands were shaking, wet from the rain. The first match sputtered and died. The second, he shielded the third with his body, striking it against the stone. A tiny, fragile flame. He held it to the wick of the massive oil lamp, the original light source, preserved for a century. The wick caught a small orange light. "Come on, old friend," Elias whispered. "Breathe." He opened the vents. The flame drew in the air, grew from a spark to a fist, from a fist to a bonfire. And then, as it hit the heart of the great Fresnel lens, it exploded. Orion was alive. A warm golden beam, not the cold blue of LED, but a powerful living light, punched through the curtain of rain. It swept across the black water. A blade of pure hope. It illuminated the foaming white caps of the waves crashing against the dragon's teeth. 10 miles out at sea, the lookout on the Odyssey screamed, "Light! Light! Starboard! A lighthouse!" The captain wept in relief. He didn't know how, but he knew where. He had a bearing, a fixed point in a world of chaos. He gave the order. The ship groaned as it fought the waves, turning its bow away from the rocks, following the light. One by one, the other lost ships saw it. The forgotten light, the obsolete guardian. They realigned, they followed, they found their way into the safe channel, guided home, not by satellites in the sky, but by a tower of stone and a heart of fire. As dawn broke, the storm passed, leaving a bruised sky and a calm sea. The safe harbor was filled with ships that should have been wreckage. As the Odyssey passed the cliffs, the captain didn't sound the automated horn. He pulled the cord for the old brass whistle, and it let out a long, deep, resonant cry. A salute. Soon, every ship in the harbor joined in. A chorus of foghorns, whistles, and sirens echoing across the water. A thank you to the light that hadn't failed them. Elias stood at the top of the tower, exhausted, his shoulder aching, and he smiled. Orion stood tall, his stone bright in the morning sun, no longer a relic, but a savior. The moral of this story is not that new technology is bad. It is that your worth is not defined by what is new. You are not obsolete. Your experience is not useless. Your wisdom, your strength, your simple, steady light It is timeless. You may feel invisible in the bright, noisy world of the everyday, but do not mistake silence for obsolescence. Your purpose is not gone. It is waiting. It is waiting for the storm. It is waiting for the moment when all the superficial systems fail, and the world is desperately searching in the dark for a real, true, and unwavering light. Your light. Be ready to shine.